What's up, customizers? Today I'm going to show you how to make a wet palette. Let's go. Now what you'll need to make a wet palette is an airtight container like this, some sponges like this, some greaseproof paper or baking paper like this, a paper towel like this, a brush, some paints, and some regular tap water. Now how to make the wet palette. You take your airtight container and open it up. Then you're going to take your sponges. Now what I do is I take the scour off these. Some sponges have them, some don't. And all you're going to do is rip them off. You don't need these anymore. Now add the sponges inside the container. Now what we're going to do is get our tap water and fill it up to about halfway up the sponges. And to get that moisture through the sponge, just press the sponges down. Now because the sponges are holding a lot of that water, we're going to refill up the water so it's about halfway through the sponges. Now what we're going to do is get our greaseproof paper. These I've just cut up into the same size as the sponges and just lay them on top. Now how this works is that the water inside the container is going to go up through the sponges up to the top, and it's going to hold all the moisture at the top of the sponge where the greaseproof paper is. Now it's not going to go through the greaseproof paper, but it's going to make sure that it's got like a moisture barrier so the paint stays moist. Now what you can do is you can add your paints. And you can use your paints just as they are. Now when you're finished with your paints, what you can do, just take the lid and seal it up like that. So this usually lasts about 3 days. After 3 days I would recommend changing out the greaseproof paper and changing out the water and cleaning the sponges, or just changing the sponges entirely. And what you can do is you can put this in the bin when you're not using it and simply just get a fresh one. So how you get your paints to be applied smooth onto figures is basically you're able to control how much water and moisture the paint holds by simply just gathering water onto your brush, either by tapping the sponge to collect the moisture off that, or through a side pocket of water and just adding it slowly and mixing it in through your paints. Now this will thin the paint and adding water to it, so when it's applied onto figures it runs smoothly and it's not as thick. Now another great thing you can do with wet palettes is blending your colours. So here I have yellow and black. Now these aren't the best colours to be working with, but it's just the first thing I picked up. And you can add a little bit of black to your yellow and get the exact colour you're looking for. Now you have all this space to work with, so don't be afraid to use it. Now blending colours can be great for skin tones or anything else, or making a colour that you don't have readily available. Another great thing about this wet palette is that I have the sponge is small enough, so I have 2 side pockets of water. Now if your mixing water is dirty like this one, as I've used to clean the brush, you can use these 2 side pockets to also clean the brush. Now this doesn't affect the sponge or your wet palette, as it's only affecting this greaseproof paper, so don't worry about using that. So you can use it as another side pocket to clean your brush. Now this is great for metallic paints that have that glittery effect. So you can use that to wash your metallic paints in your normal paint water without changing the water frequently. And clean your brush with regular paints with these two side pockets. That way your glittery effect doesn't get mixed up with your paints. Now if you aren't able to get or have a sealed tight container like this one, you can use other methods like getting a dish and some paper towels and a bit of water. Put the water onto the dish. And put the paper towel into the water like so. Now you can use this as a slight wet palette, or you can go one step further and use greaseproof paper again. And this will act as the exact same as this, however this won't last as long. You can maybe use this for a day and then it will need to be changed because it's not airtight, so the moisture isn't being able to be held in. So your paints will dry out faster. Whereas this, you can use this for about 3 days without changing anything. I have seen online that people say they put coins inside these, maybe below the sponge at the bottom. And this helps it to like last a little bit longer and not be as smelly after 3 days. However, I've not tested this. Maybe someone in the comments can test this and write down how it went. However, if you want smooth paints to go on your figures, this is what you need. You can also buy them online, but they're a little expensive. This is the much cheaper option. And plus you can choose how big or small you want your wet palette to be. You can buy large containers, smaller containers. However, I would recommend container you get, you use sponges that are slightly smaller, so you have these two pockets of water at the side. So that's how I make my wet palettes and what I use them for. I hope this video has been a little informative. If anyone has any more questions, pop them down in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.